losses today, but what we have seen over the last week, Bankole, are gains on the NSC. What do you make of today's session, but generally the trend over the last week?
Yeah, hi Lerato. The market has been pretty bullish in the last 6 days of trade, except for today. I would say what happened today is just as a result of the gains in prices across all types of stocks in the market. Prior to this, if you recall, it's been a bearish market in the Nigerian stock exchange for a long period of time where prices falling. Investors are beginning to feel that they can't come in right now, that the prices are good enough. And it's not just in the banking sector this time around. We're seeing very good performance from the foods and beverages, the construction, cement sector, and then other foods and beverage stocks.
Let's look at the various sectors and who are the best performers. Yesterday there was bullish sentiment concerning the banks, especially the rescued banks. Which banks looked attractive, and how's the trend today?
Today, the best performers in the bank sector were GT Bank, Zenith Bank, and then First Bank. These are very big banks, very stable. They're not on the rescued list of banks. For those other banks, that's the rescued banks, we've got positive news about other Nigerian banks willing to take over them. But what we're beginning to see is AMCON coming into shape and then telling us how much bonds they will issue for the bad debts at this stage. We want to see, we'll see banks wait for these exchanges to take place and then carry out further due diligence on the state of these rescued banks and then probably take over. But it's good that we're seeing Nigerian banks show willingness and capacity to take over other banks.
I mean, obviously a lot of attention on proposed merger and acquisitions of some of the rescued banks. People wanting to come into the market right now because the rescued banks are fairly cheap. It's a good entry point because, as Kubi was saying, your treasurer the other day, when you take on these banks, because the infrastructure exists, you'd just be hitting the ground running. And that's created a bit of a competitive edge between the rescued banks and the tier 1 banks. How have some of the big banks performed?
On the prices of some of the big banks today, what we saw was a slight drop in prices. I won't ascribe that to general performance. I think it's just short-term investors taking spreads and margins. Of course, it's weekend. You want to consolidate your positions, not just in stocks, but in income earnings for weekend. And as year-end grinds in, we expect people to try to get into new positions or get out of old positions and then take margin. For the rescued banks, apart from infrastructure, these banks turned out very good profit in the third quarter result that they published. They were able to recover very good substantial amount of losses that that had been incurred before. So apart from having good infrastructure, they've performed very well in this particular year. And then we expect that to replicate itself at the fourth quarter results.
Let's talk about the brewers, Bankole. They've been relatively good performers, and it's been because there've been a series of holidays, as you explained to us so wittily last week. But this week we've seen National Breweries being the main performer, yesterday gaining 122 basis points. What's your outlook for the brewers as we head into the festive season?
Yeah, the outlook is very positive, especially for Nigerian Brewery, not National Brewery. Nigerian Brewery has a wide range of products that are not just alcoholic. They've got good options for those who do not take alcohol. Of course, festivities continue into Christmas, the Yuletide season. We expect that their stock prices will go up, of course, as a reflection of what's going to happen to their levels of turnover. Other companies in the food and beverage sector, like I like to mention Flour Mills of Nigeria, the Honeywell, Dangote Flours are also doing well. All those stocks are, of course, yielding to demand in the market. Of course, we expect a lot of gift packages and then other festivity-related stock price-driven issues.
Okay, talk to us about the building materials. They've been a firm favorite, but we've seen Dangote cement trading sideways over the last session. Your views on the brewers, and I'm talking about the others such as Ashaka and also CCNN?
Yeah, for at the end of today's trade, Dangote cement and CCNN closed a little bit low. than what they've been doing. For Ashaka Cement, it's the price too still. I would think that investors are doing more of food and beverage sector and then arbitraging on banking stocks right now. It's not because of any bad news or information about the cement producers at all. It's got to do with changing portfolios and big arbitrage.
And then Bankole, your outlook for equities going forward. I mean, as you're saying, it's the year's end, and what we're seeing in other markets is investors holding on to their position. You're talking about consolidating their positions, really waiting to see what turns up in the first quarter of next year.
I would give a positive outlook. I would say that stocks of banks will do fine when results come out, and then for companies in the food and beverage sector, it's going to be a roller coaster. We expect prices to continue to move on. There will be slight and marginal fluctuations when people try to investors try to take profit, maybe month end, weekend, but it's going to be a gradual trend, not something very aggressive or very bullish, but it's going to be a marginal increase in stock market index.
All right, your expertise is the bond markets. Just give us a sense of your outlook for the short term.
There's been marginal rise in prices across all bond maturities. Just like in the equity market, the major players, the PDMMs in the Nigerian banking sector and then other financial investors are beginning to see the importance or the attractiveness of these yields across all maturities. That's from T-bills and then bonds, especially on 3 and 5 years maturities. Those yields are between 9 and then 12%.